Hey everybody, this is Michael Torres. Here I am with my Real American News Show. Just wanted to show people this kind of thing that I do. I'm trying to get better at it, whatever. But the real thing that I'm doing is the MacBook Pro to early 2011 review. So I'm going to go ahead and get into that and let you guys see that, enjoy it. Then I'll come back and end the show. All right, here we go. Hey everybody, once again this is Michael Torres. I'll be giving you my review of the new early 2011 MacBook Pro. Just got it in. I'm super excited to get with it. So when you arrive at your place and you see this box, it makes you pretty freaking excited. I know it did me. So as you can see, ta-da, this is the new MacBook Pro. Keeps the same sort of style as the previous generation. So I had the 2.8 gigahertz Core 2 Duo, the early 2008 model, and so I sold that one and upgraded to this one, which is the quad core 2.3 gigahertz i7 processor with the 1 gig of graphics memory, as well as 4 gigs of RAM. So you can check it out right here. I'll go ahead and boot it up. So if you're new to Mac, it's very simple setup. I mean, it'll come on. This is running Snow Leopard. It will pop right up. You just type your information and you're good to go. Now, if you have used Time Machine, then what you can do is restore your old files straight back to your new computer. So what you'd want to do is go ahead and have that connected, your Time Machine backup, and then once you boot up your computer, it'll ask you, do you want to transfer from another Mac or a Time Machine backup, so then you just go ahead and do that. I did that through over Ethernet. It's really fast, I had probably about 183 gigabytes to transfer, and it took about 2 hours, So while that has been going, we've got the computer up, and so I opted for the high-res anti-glare screen. So I've had the glossy before, and the glossy, I was almost not sure whether I wanted to do the glossy or not, but I went ahead and did the anti-glare, which is what I had in my previous MacBook Pro, and I also had the high-res, the extra pixels as well. So let me go ahead and just show you again. Here's the specs. I'm running 10.6.7. So I had an issue with restoring with my old computer. I had an issue with my old computer where my iPhoto would not load, and so typically this doesn't happen, and I think it's because I had iPhoto 09 and then these computers had iPhoto 11, and actually there wasn't a good workaround for that. So after looking at the forums, which if you have a problem with your Mac, I suggest you always go to support.apple.com or discussions.apple.com and look at the forums and search for your particular problem. So essentially what I had to do is I had to reinstall a fresh start on Snow Leopard, and then when I did my Time Machine backup, I just did my user account and not my apps, so I had to hand copy my apps over, which there was luckily, there was only like 5 or 6 apps that were crucial that either had the CD or DVD for the install disks, and then I just could copy them because the way that the programs, they're basically self-contained, most programs, so you copy from the apps folder to the apps folder and you will get it there, and it's ready to install and open up and run as usual. So that was the only issue that I had, but if you have a new Mac, you really shouldn't have that problem, and I suspect that if you went from iPhoto 11 to 11, then you wouldn't have an issue at all. So typically it's a very easy experience, and if you have any more questions about how to do Time Machine backups and restores, just let me know. We use Time Capsule here in the house, so it automatically backs up our Macs, and so it's pretty simple. So again, I opted for the 500 gigabyte 7200 RPM hard drive. So I hear that you're able to swap in a third-party solid state drive if you want to. So I went with that route and plan to potentially do that later. And so solid state is really awesome. So as you can see here, I have my wife's MacBook Air, and I mean with solid state, sleep it's like boom, instant on. It's same thing like, you know, usually with the iPads and stuff. It's just so fast. The boot time is so fast. Like if I could have afforded to get the 500 gigabyte solid state drive, I would have. But that's an extra $1,000, you know. So again, with the Mac. So if you're not familiar with Snow Leopard, one of the best things that I like about it is something called spaces. So, you know, I'll just open up a window and say I'll open up another window. And again, with the 4 gigs of RAM is what I have, so which is upgradable to 8 gigs, or you can do even 16, I hear. But again, that's the kits for that are super expensive. About it set you back about another $1,000. So let's just wait till the prices go down, and we'll do that. So the best thing about the Mac, one of the features I really like is this thing called Expose. So Expose, you can set up these corners, and so now I can just go through the windows really fast. If you have a lot of files open, it's really easy. This is how you can kick back the desktop, you know. So it's one of the neat features that I really like about the Mac. So I mean, I just kind of throw that in as a side note. But what we're here to talk about is the computer. So again, if you see we have these ports over here. It's similar to the old MacBooks Pros, except now we have this Thunderbolt port, which is essentially the same thing as the display port. So it's the same connector, but it can split the channels where you have DisplayPort and the Thunderbolt, which is a PCI Express protocol, I believe. So you can essentially daisy chain several different devices, and the transfer speeds are really fast. I mean, there's not very many things that can use the actual Thunderbolt port yet, but it's very future proof. So hopefully we'll get to see what sorts of things that we'll get to do with that. So why I really like this computer over my old one. So normally if I had a file, say for instance with Handbrake, I would take like a 2 or 3 gig movie and I would, you know, encode it into an Apple friendly format. And typically taking like a 3 gig movie, 2 gig movie to basically around 1 gig could take about 2.5 hours to do with my old computer. And that was 2.8, 512 graphics and 4 gigs of RAM. So with this one, I had a 7 gigabyte Blu-ray rip that was already done, you know, that I may have just acquired somehow. And then I used Handbrake to encode that again to an iTunes friendly format. And this took about 45 minutes to do, which I went from 7 gigs down to 2 gigs, which is still you know, slightly higher than 480 resolution, and that took about 45 minutes. So these machines are fast. It's really, really great. In them, they have the automatic switch for the graphics, so it'll run the Intel integrated graphics card, or it'll run the higher end AMD 1 gig graphics card that it has, you know. So with that, you can play with that and do battery and energy management really well, you know. So I haven't really got a chance to test how the battery, you know, performs under normal conditions, but I mean, granted, I feel it's going to be just as good, if not better, than the old MacBook Pros. So if you guys have any questions, or you want, you know, me to address something specifically, you know, I also have some first-hand knowledge about Lion, the upcoming operating system coming out. Been testing. Well, I can go ahead and say I've been testing that. You know, right now it's not working with this current build because the old Lion build doesn't have the drivers for this 64-bit or this current early 2011 MacBook Pro. So again, I'm Michael Torres. If you have any questions, just let me know. I'm always checking my stuff online. And all right, thanks. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the review. And this is my show, the Real American News Show. I welcome any feedback, and you know, just let's keep this thing going, and let's see what happens. All right, guys. Talk to you later. Until next time.